Funding for this program was provided by the Greater Scranton Chamber of Commerce Neighborhood Development Trust Fund, the Lackawanna Regional Cultural Council, the Scranton Area Foundation, and the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts.
Constantly reflects a new vision that comes out of the day and the light in which the work is being seen. And I love that surprise. I love the fact that his work is not one simple statement, but it changes on a daily basis. I think that's a remarkable thing for any work of art to be able to do.
These pieces allow people to dream. A person sees in one of these pieces whatever they want to see, because there's a fourth dimension at play here. There's height, and there's width, and there's depth in any sculpture. It's three-dimensional. However, the optical illusions that you get on the interior of the piece is a fourth dimension. They don't really exist except as an apparition of light. The interior compositions are resultant from looking through this plane right here. It's a window to a view.
Covering up the mold there to keep it warm while it goes to the annealing oven. If it cools too quickly, it builds up stress inside, and that stress will crack the casting. Large castings of glass have to anneal for quite a long time. So the piece that just went into this annealing oven will be in there for nearly 4 months to come down to room temperature. I think that it's a very unique situation to the extent of freedom that I have here, in that I use this entire factory as if it was my own studio. This is like having a 450-man facility for myself. It's fantastic.
It's an artistic project rather than an industrial project. We are interested in selling the work, don't get me wrong.
It looks good up in that region.
But Chris has complete control over the creation of the sculpture. We don't tell him what sizes to work in. We don't tell him what sculptures to make. And I don't think it could work any other way.
This piece of glass is really a pretty good piece of glass. If we see anything at all with this light, little tiny specks with this light, you'd never see it with the naked eye under normal lighting conditions.
One of the key points in our relationship is that he remains an artist, and we are not an art company. We happen to have a material that can be used for beautiful, exquisite sculptures. Christopher uses a glass that is commonly used for fiber optics, and it's among our clearest glasses, our highest transmitting glasses in the visible area of the spectrum. It transmits 99.5% of the light that enters it.
Okay, we're going right.
We are working in a partnership whereby we supply him with the facilities and the glass, and he does the magic with the glass and creates the artwork.
Okay, Ernie, it looks pretty good. I think we should take the cut.
I have approximately about 18 to 20 pieces of his, and most of them are at my office. I have an office in Beverly Hills. In my consultation desk, between the patient and myself, I have two large pieces.
Can you get a wedge under it? Got it?
What's unique about crystal, let's say as opposed to bronze or marble, is that it has a changing dimension. It's almost like a live piece. So I could be sitting waiting for a patient and I would just turn that piece and say, well, I never saw that image before. So you turn it and you see another image that there's like a flower vase and beautiful flowers in there. His pieces, they create this images because of the way he cuts it, the facets, the angles, the prisms, the millions of prisms create these images. I enjoy it, and I think my patients enjoy it a lot. It's fun for me to relate to. A lot of times I'll use that piece or another piece and I say, this is so beautiful, and I look at your face as attractive as this, and if somebody told me to do something or alter this crystal a little bit, I wouldn't do it, and similarly I won't touch your face. One thing they can, even through the piece, they don't know who Chris is, they've never met him, they can see a certain amount of peace and a certain amount of his spirit come through the work. And that, I personally, knowing him, can see that also. So that's also another dimension to his work.
When I'm roughing a piece, I try to keep consistency. I try to keep it rough all the way around, and I don't finish one particular area and then go on with it. That's not a good way to form a piece.
So at this point, this on the upper part here, this is formed enough to where I need to lay it down and start roughing the bottom so that I get a truer feeling of the volume that's left from the material. It took me a long time to come around to the fact that clear glass possesses all the colors of the rainbow. It's just more subtle, more elegant, more refined. It's like life itself because it changes so much by the way you look at it. And it's absolutely beautiful. That's why I like this material.
The role of the collector in the art world, I'm talking about the serious collector in the art world, is a very singular one. I don't think that it has been explored very much at all. But the influence, the contribution to that medium in which he or she is interested can be very profound. This work is particularly wonderful. It really does fly.
I chose it because I liked it.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no impurities whatsoever, no bubbles, no spots. You would call it a perfect piece of sculptured glass. I think his work is timeless. 20 years from today, it could look like it was just produced that year. There's no way to place it in any time sequence. That its elegance will hold up possibly even 100 years from today. It's not dated. The golden egg that he has designed is something you just have never seen anywhere in the world. No artist has ever produced a pure golden egg the weight and size of his work. In fact, it is so heavy that it's on a steel drum. That's where it's kept, right behind me. And that because of its weight, it took 4 people to lift it up and place it there.
His work is very surreal in many ways. Curiously enough, this golden egg, when you look inside it, everything around it is reflected upside down, isn't there? I still don't know why. I'm sure there's a scientific reason for it, but everything is reflected upside down. I think that it's kind of marvelous that a golden egg should have all this upside down reflections in it.
There's more of an optimal view if we take a little weight. We got to reduce both sides of it. This angle's got to become a little bit thinner here and reduce it. So we'll take off just about 3 millimeters on this side, just skim it, and then we'll go for the angle on the other side. So what we need to do is lay it over, get the suction device on it, get it down on the table and cast it up in a ring. And that should keep us busy today. We got it, no problem. There are 3 flat sides on this piece, and each one needs to be formed preliminarily and knocked out, and then each of those 3 sides needs to be put back in the plaster for a final grind and polish. So this piece will be in that ring, embedded in 1.5 tons plaster 6 separate times. Looks good. There are 2 very different worlds that I work in. The factory is not a very conducive atmosphere to design in. You need a lot of concentration, and in the factory there are always too many extraneous things going on. I do my small work, design models, and bring those pieces into existence in my private studio. And when I'm sure of the merits of a design, I may take that design to the factory and upscale it. When I'm at shot, I already know what I'm going to do for the most part. When I'm using a piece of their machinery, factory production is not getting done on that piece of machinery. So I need to be very sure of what I'm doing. I cannot just sit there and spend a lot of time looking at a piece and wondering whether a piece would look better this way or that. Keep it coming.
Glass is a very accessible medium. If one can fold it as a form, it can be almost too pretty. But I love the way it captures light. I love the way it doesn't stand still. The contemporary artist has broken many of the molds that have gone before. And to my mind, that's what art is all about, pushing through to new horizons constantly. And the contemporary artist working in glass has broken through to new horizons that were absolutely unheard of, unthought of, inconceivable 50 years ago in terms of the technique and the mode in which they're working. I find that very exciting. They're not standing still.
On a count of 3. 1, yeah. 2, are you ready? 3. Excellent, excellent, yeah, I got it. I think in terms of months, certainly, to do a piece. Unusual pieces in terms of years. Sometimes just planning a piece has taken a couple of years to prepare for it. To me, it's a natural process. To a painter, it would be excruciating. Do you have to turn it here? Down a little bit. You ready? Keep it coming. Take that as a mark. Bring it down at 4. I get tremendous satisfaction from having another person look at my work and love it. I guess it tells me I'm okay as a person, or whatever it is, it's healing.
No, it's not. It looks just, it's not, I guess it's just getting done.
This way it comes from, is this where it comes from?
Yes, it is.
See?
That's simple cut creating all that on one side.
Yes. And also, when you look, there's on the bottom, it's ground, but there's a small area that is polished. How are we doing? That's good. These pieces of glass are by itself. They're just dummy blocks of glass. They have no value other than to keep that tool level and going around the top of this surface perfectly flat. Today we'll start with a 180 grit and we'll go to 320 and then go down to a 500 mesh. Each time we change grits, we have to scrub the surface of this down. And this is what takes time. So far, so good. Something that's been said of my work is that the surfaces are so smooth and pleasing to touch. I've had several exhibitions where there have been blind people brought into the exhibition, and blind people love to touch these pieces. They feel these pieces. They've never felt anything like them before, never felt a form like this. The trick here is to get a nice, crisp, sharp edge without chipping the sharp edge. When you have nice, crisp edges, you get distinct separations in the images that are reflected on the interior of the piece when it's done. A piece like this will take up to a year to be finished, and during that process, you cannot make one mistake, not one. If you do make a mistake, then the process becomes longer because you have to rid the surface of that mistake, and one little chip could take several weeks just to correct it. You know, the surface looks really good except for one pit here. There's a pit there the size of Chicago.
I think there's 2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of them right beside each other. May have to have a little regrinding in that area. Solid 30 hours of continuous polishing on this one side. It's not easy either. This machine will drag you around. If you can see one single pit or flaw in it at all, it has to be redone because you'll definitely see it reflected around the composition of the sculpture. This has to be absolutely perfect. So far, so good. It's good. Paint it up. Down on that table as fast as possible. Watch your hands. Controlling the interior compositions is like trying to control the ricochet of a bullet. Light is like a bullet. It'll go in one direction till it hits something, and then it goes off in another direction, and it'll keep bouncing around inside a piece until it exits. When I'm sculpting a piece, it's opaque. You do not see the internal composition as it's being made. You only get a feeling for what it might look like. Through time and experience, I've refined my sense of what a piece probably will look like, but I'm often surprised when I look into a piece and see things that I didn't think were going to happen. And often they're very exciting.
Funding for this program was provided by the Greater Scranton Chamber of Commerce Neighborhood Development Trust Fund, the Lackawanna Regional Cultural Council, the Scranton Area Foundation, and the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts.